Back, folks. It is Saturday, the 3rd of January, 2026. And wow, what a day. If you've been watching the news or seeing anything on social media about what's happening in the world, you know that today we've seen some amazing things happen. For starters, Venezuela's dictatorial president, Nicolas Maduro, has been arrested by the Drug Enforcement Agency. That's right, not captured by the U.S. military. Nope. Actually caught by U.S. law enforcement and has been already indicted in New York for drugs and weapons charges, among others. It was done in what will go down in history as one of the fastest military and law enforcement operations ever conducted. What Venezuela saw as war, or the dictator of Venezuela saw as a war, actually just turned out to be basically a glorified police action with Black Hawk helicopters and other things flying in the air, suppressing all of the electronic signaling and taking out the relevant air bases and military targets. Not a single Venezuelan citizen was killed or even harmed, and not a single American personnel, law enforcement or military, was harmed or killed. Thank God for that. The operation apparently lasted in total, including the air assaults, 2 hours and 50 minutes. So barely enough time for lunch with your family on a Saturday. Big family kind of gathering lunch. And the actual time on the ground, as reported, that the American personnel were on the ground to capture Maduro and his wife and bring them to the helicopters and airplanes that would fly them out back to the U.S., 30 minutes. This is a lightning fast affair. Yeah, apparently the only faster war still on the record is the 38-minute long war between Britain and, I believe, Zanzibar or Tanzania about 30 years ago or so. So yeah, this is a historical day in terms of military operations, and this is why America is still the superpower, in case you're wondering, folks. Okay, I've always said it. It's because they got the biggest guns, and they have the control of the fiat currency. The U.S. and England basically hold up the world's economy, and the Swiss Bank of International Transfers, BIS, Bank of International Settlements, is obviously the important intermediary. But ultimately, the U.S. is the superpower because they're able to do this, okay? And if you think that the people in Iran right now saw that and didn't get motivated to bring down the Iranian dictatorial Ayatollah regime that they have there and the IRGC terrorists that are the guns of Iran right now, well, I can tell you the Iranian people are very much motivated, and I hope to God, pray that they find the courage and perseverance to do an all-out assault now and just take down the Ayatollah. But like I said before, I ain't waiting up nights, because unfortunately we've seen too many times in Iran these kind of protests spark and then eventually die down when the IRGC comes out, or the Hezbollah used to come out sometimes and suppress the protesters. And now on top of that, we've seen the Ayatollah basically say that the protesters need to be, quote, put in their place. And he was referring specifically, he said, right, that what he meant was people have the right to protest, but they don't have the right to riot. Okay, meanwhile, his forces have killed at least 10 people who were protesting and injured God knows how many more. If you look at the average day in 2025, when some 1,500 people, 1,500 people were executed for crimes like, not wearing their hijab right or something. That's like an average of 40 to 50 a day or something like that on average. Anywhere, I don't know, do the math, between 30 and 50, that's for sure. People a day, every single day, are executed in Iran. And now they've lost about 10 people in about a week of protesting. So also very telling that a week ago, on the 29th of December, actually, on a Sunday, Bibi Netanyahu and Trump met, and I told you, what did I tell you there? I told you, look out for what's going to happen in Iran and also Venezuela, right? Not by accident. I mentioned that to you guys in the live stream and the AMAs that I did on that day. Some of which are probably posted on YouTube. Others, I don't know, disappeared into the cyber void, but you probably have them recorded or something. By the way, like and subscribe, would you? Appreciate it. So what is exactly happening right now? Well, Maduro, like I said, has been arrested along with his wife, arrested by the DEA. By the way, exactly 35 years to the day that Manuel Noriega was arrested in Panama after being subjected to quote-unquote psychological torture, which basically means that the soldiers who were encircling his palace, the American soldiers, basically blasted rock music nonstop, like U2, The Clash, Van Halen, etc., to the point where he couldn't take it anymore and just surrendered, which is hilarious. And yes, that happened 35 years ago to this day. And also, today is the birthday of none other than the leftist idiot, Greta Thunberg, or Thunberg, whatever he should have named is. The Swedish leftist idiot, Greta Thunberg. It is her birthday. Coincidence? All right. So, is Israel involved? Is the Mossad involved in all of this? People will, of course, say that. The answer is, you'll probably never know, okay? And it doesn't matter to you, and it doesn't matter to anyone. It matters that Maduro was ousted from power in a lightning flash event, and all the leftists are freaking out, and it's hilarious. Their minds are all melting down. CNN is downplaying this and is calling and saying that the actions were, called illegal international, crimes and all this stuff, quoting, other dictators around the world, saying, oh, this was an illegal act of aggression against a sovereign nation. No, it wasn't. They checked their documents, they dotted their I's and crossed their T's. The American government exactly knew what they had to do and knew exactly how to do it, when to do it, where and why, and all that stuff. Who would do it to? This was perfect execution. Again, not a single Venezuelan civilian was harmed or killed. Not one. Not a single American personnel was harmed or killed. Not one. So this goes down in the books as one of the cleanest operations in history. You can bet your butt they'll be studying this at West Point and in all other kinds of military academies in the U.S. and around the world about how to do it right. Right? So literally, hats off to my fellow Americans, especially those of you serving in law enforcement, in the DEA, and in the military for doing such an incredible job. Really, chapeau, like you guys, you nailed it. It's amazing. You make us proud. And as an expat living here in Israel, I can tell you, I am ever so grateful for what America has done today, delivering more freedom and democracy to yet another nation, and making it very clear to the dictator in Iran that his time is coming up. Who knows? Maybe he'll live through this one. Maybe he'll outlast it. Maybe not. Maybe he'll escape. Maybe not. Time will tell. One thing's for sure, though. Karma's coming, one way or the other. His time is drawing near. And we will see a different world once that awful regime is gone. So, once again, by the way, if you're watching this, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment, hit the bell notification, all that stuff. I appreciate it. But yeah, let's get us to more viewers, please. Thank you. So, why did this happen now in Venezuela? Well, I've been telling you for a long time. Yeah, Venezuela is messing around, and they're basically effing around, and they're going to find out. And specifically, I said Maduro is going to F around and find out. That's exactly what happened, right? You remember about a month ago, at the end of November, beginning of December, he decided to suddenly make it 2026 on the Venezuelan calendar. Why did he do that? He did that because he wanted to not so much show his ability to do presidential acts. He wanted the tax revenues that would roll in at the end of the year, so that he would have them a month early in order to prepare for the American aggression, etc. Because he knew he was already on watch back then. He was on alert, and he had been warned already multiple times by the U.S. by that point. The Department of War had made it very clear, we're coming for you if you don't stop your nonsense. He refused to stop his nonsense. He kept trying to do all the stupid things he's doing with the oil and with the drugs, obviously, the fentanyl and everything else. So he effed around, and now he found out. This is a classic study in why dictators end up losing when they go against the superpower, right? Now, could it be that he's going to get off from the criminal case and trial? Yeah, that's not very likely, right? The woman, by the way, who has been tapped to replace him, the one who actually won the election, Maria Machado, unlike Maduro, who was basically a bus driver who got elevated through various political things to become president after Chavez picked him to be minister, et cetera, et cetera. Machado is actually an industrial engineer in terms of her academic training, and also she had a master's degree in finance. So she's obviously very, very pro-capitalism, and given her stance on everything, her political stance and her political experience. And notice that she was exfiltrated from Venezuela recently because of the clear and present threats being made against her by various Venezuelan groups, armed factions, etc., and possibly even some Hezbollah offshoots. Because guess what? Yeah, Hezbollah also operates in Venezuela. They run drug cartels, they run illegal car dealerships, they run fraud over there. So yeah, Hezbollah terrorists run roughshod over significant parts of Venezuela, and that means that Iranian money had been flowing into Venezuela. Well, it's going to stop now, right? Machado is probably going to be very much pro getting rid of those guys from her country. So don't be surprised also if we find out at some point that some of the targets the U.S. hit might have well been Hezbollah bases or businesses or whatever. Also, very interesting and hilarious that the U.S. decided to basically turn Chavez's tomb or mausoleum into a roasting open fire. Right? They bombed the hell out of Chavez's tomb, which you may say, oh, it's so disrespectful. Well, the guy was a socialist dictator who ruined the wealthiest country in South America. And fun fact, Maduro came to power in 2013. In 2013, shortly after he came to power, was the last time that Venezuela won the Miss Universe contest, a contest that they won many times because their women have been considered beautiful by whatever those standards are for many, many years. And they made an entire industry out of it, in fact. But they haven't been able to win it since Maduro came to power. Curious, right? So, yeah. Hey, Crazy Manuel. How you doing, man? Good to see you, bro. Yeah, so fun fact, fun times. And it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. We're certainly going to see whether or not this spills over into Iran. And like I said, gives the Iranians even more motivation to finish the job. I hope and pray that they do. I'm not holding my breath, but I hope and pray that they do. And you know what they say? When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And that's exactly what I'm going to do when these fine citrus fruits are ready. I'm making a lot of delicious lemonade. Sour, sour, sour. Whiskey sour mash all the way. To celebrate the downfall of Maduro and hopefully very soon the downfall of the Iranian dictatorship. So to all my friends who are Iranian, I pray for you. I hope for you. I hope that you have a free country soon and that you get all the wonderful things that you deserve as a people, and that Israel and Iran can have peace and wonderful relations again, as we have had in the past and as historically we've had as B'nai Israel and the people of Persia under Cyrus the Great, who helped us take our land back here after the first temple was destroyed. He helped us get back to Israel and eventually rebuild the second temple, or build the second temple. This is all wonderful stuff. So by the powers that be, May we all see more freedom in the world. God bless America. God bless Israel. God bless the Venezuelan people. God bless the Iranian people. And yeah, let's go. See you guys in the next one. Peace. Shalom.